Hey guys, welcome to the All Sports Pass Podcast North. My name is Eli. I'm your host, and of course, welcome back to Max. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Um, and we're gonna be talking. We're gonna be doing something that's a little bit of historical for the All Sports Pass. We're actually making a full dedicated video to basketball. um, yeah, but before we get in this video, you already know we gotta start off with the verse of the day. Today's Bible verse is from John 8:36, and it says, "Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed." And also, guys, leave a like, subscribe for more college basketball content. Without further ado, let's begin. So, of course, Tennessee was playing at a neutral site tonight against Miami. Final score was 75-62. And in my opinion, I think that there's just been a bit of mistakes in this game. And I'm saying mostly, just turnovers and forcing shots. Like, what are your thoughts on it, Max?
I think like our defense has just been struggling. Like since even Syracuse, like that this quarter was just like really bad for our defense. Like especially tonight, because Miami kept it close. They're like 3-7 now.
Yeah, and of course, I also think that, like mentioning that defense is on the defense, like, of course, I think the transition was fine. It's just when they get to the other side of the court
Yeah,
that they just leave way too much space open. And that's what, that's really what I've been seeing mostly all game. And I just think that for Tennessee, they're going to have to really close up the space if they're going to want to try to keep close, because you can't keep allowing these potential open shots. Because and now they got lucky with a few of them, like they weren't able to get punished by the lack of coverage there. But I think that for Tennessee, they're going to have to really up things up, because I'm sorry, not up things, close the space, excuse me. And I think that, you know, like, because this Miami team is, I'm trying to be as sportsmanlike as possible, but let's just say they're not really the best.
yeah.
Like they lost 80-69 to Drake, and Drake is mostly like, a mid-level team mostly. Um, and I think, of course, that with Miami, like this win should have been a bigger margin, in my opinion, for Tennessee. And I do think, of course, that as looking at the halves, like the points scored, Tennessee outscored Miami 38-25 in the first half, and of course that included a 14-0 scoring run to end the half. And then Miami, of course, was outscored in the first half, like I say, 38-25, and both teams had 37 in the second half. And I just think that, in the second half, Miami started to come about like guns blazing pretty much. And, they just refused to quit. But however, Tennessee was able to hold it down, but it just wasn't, a pretty win.
And even like on offense, like Tennessee was only 25 for 52 with field goals and only 10 for 25 getting 3-point shots.
Yeah, and that's the thing that, I'm noticing, like, another thing that I want to say is this is the fact that, Tennessee, I just think they're trying to either force the open shot, or they're trying to make
Yeah,
the shot fall like as soon as they get to the other side of the court. And that's like something that I think is a big no-no in basketball, because you have a 30-second shot clock. If I was Tennessee, I try to take some time off the clock a little bit, try to figure out which one of my guys are open, and then and of course you pass to that guy who you think would have the best chance of converting. And I just didn't see all that tonight. I think that, what I've just been seeing was rush shots, and that's just what I think, really affected this Tennessee team tonight.
yeah. And like Miami wasn't that good even on offense. They were only 24 for 61 in field goals and 8 for 33 getting in 3-point shots.
Yeah,
And
and Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
and they missed like 43 throws in the game.
Mm. Yeah, but however, I think that and this might be a hot take, but there's a person who, I'm sorry, there's a team who mostly benefited from these mistakes, and I'm going to say it's Miami because
Yeah,
like from what I could tell on the screen, because of course, basketball the speed is different from football. Things are going by very fast. For those who've never watched basketball before, really. Um, is that Miami was able to get the ball back on these turnovers. Of course, sorry, let me rephrase that. Miami was able to get down the court following a Tennessee turnover, and some of those were able to go in, and that's really what cut into the lead. And then, and Tennessee was then either unable to score, or they were pretty much fouling, and that's not really like this Tennessee team that we've seen from perform prior to this game.
yeah,
And for Tennessee, I do think, of course, that if you're going to want to remain number one and remain unbeaten, you're going to have to improve on both sides because now, of course, you'd have to take a look at what went wrong tonight. But I do think that I do think, of course, that you've had some guys who were put on some highlight plays, of course, and we're going to get on to player of the game later on in the show. But of course, Sakai Ziegler, of course, getting some alley oops in to
yeah,
Cade Phillips. Those were gnarly. Um, yeah, but I do think, of course, that aside from the highlight plays, Zakai, in my opinion, when I said that, when I said earlier that Tennessee was kind of rushing everything and then ends up resulting in a turnover, Zakai was mostly why, in my
yeah.
opinion. And of
He
course,
he only scored 15 points all game,
yeah,
which
and
is
yeah,
shocking.
yeah, I know. But I do think, of course, that that the turnovers though pretty much there was one where he pretty much was passing and the Miami defender was right there
Yeah,
and took it, converted for a score. And I think that for Tennessee they're going to have and I'm not saying just for Zakai, but for Tennessee I think that they need to improve on their awareness on the court because of the fact that you could potentially turn the ball over like Zakai did tonight, and if you keep on turning that ball over, it's either gonna not end well or it's gonna end in a nightmare. And I'd rather be the and not end well because, yeah, some of those shots were actually like Miami could have shot a three and made it because they had an open court pretty much. Like they didn't even yeah, but they just of course went with a quick two, which ended up benefiting Tennessee because after that turnover, Tennessee started going on a little scoring run, and yeah,
yeah,
um, but I also think that, of course, I also do think, of course, that I do have to give it to Miami though. Like they were able to
yeah,
lead temporarily, but however, they're able to figure out Tennessee a little bit. But however, I think this will also benefit Tennessee in the future because it'll show them what they have to do for the remainder of this season. Now, of course, you get Illinois here in a couple days, which I'll pull up the schedule right now. You get them on Saturday, and then of course you play them on the road, and then next Tuesday you start a stretch of some three home games. And I'm sorry, 4 home games, so you get that home court advantage. And Tennessee is hard to beat at home.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but I
And
also do think, of
I'll
course,
be
that
grateful for one of them.
really, which one?
Yeah. We won on December 31st.
31st.
Yeah,
All right. Norfolk State.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, hey, I'll tell you what. What a way to bring in the new year, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, going to a game to end the year. That's honestly something that that's also something that I hope to do in the future. Honestly,
yeah,
um, but however, I do think, of course, that that Tennessee, like after Illinois, because Illinois is 6-2, and we'll touch up on this like if we cover this game, just depending on like what we got going on. Um, and if you get when you get by Illinois, and of course if Tennessee, and I think they likely will get by Illinois. They then start to play a bit of like they start to play Western Carolina, then they go to MTSU. Then I'm sorry, not go to MTSU, host MTSU, and then they host Norfolk State, and then they host Arkansas to kick off the new year, which is the 4th of January. And now then we get to see, because this is all SEC competition. So for this, your Tennessee is going to have to step it up really, because SEC this year is no joke. They
yeah,
are like they've got so many good teams in there this year. And of
yeah.
course, now Arkansas is unranked right now, but
But
they are
hey,
7-2.
but in football though, they beat us. So
Exactly. That's why. That's part of the reason I was actually about to
yeah,
go to that. I was about to say, if I'm the basketball team, and I understand these are two different sports, but I don't want Arkansas to beat us again
yeah,
because the football loss was already bad. We
yeah,
don't need an Arkansas loss. We don't need two Arkansas losses in a
yeah.
year. um, but however, I think that of course But guess who they're playing after Arkansas?
Georgia, right?
Nope,
Oh,
ninth ranked Florida, and that's a test. That you're
yeah,
playing a ranked team,
yeah.
and the thing about it, Tennessee does not have the home court advantage. They're going down to Gainesville to play, and now of course I think this game's going to be interesting because now we all know about the football rivalry,
Yeah,
the basketball like really, and believe it or not, like of course now this isn't really a reputable source according to some teachers. So of course, teachers, if you're watching, please don't hate us. But Wikipedia actually does not have as like many basketball rivalries really.
yeah.
Really, the only one I was really able to find for Tennessee was Kentucky. So really, I'm going to assume that the Tennessee Florida rivalry is non-existent in basketball.
It probably still is. At
Yeah,
least
like
like
yeah, I
like
know, but I'm just
SEC.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna guess like kind of non-existent to like the extent of like how big the rivalry is for football.
Yeah.
Um, but trust me, that Kentucky, whenever we play Kentucky, which is the 28th of January, uh, oh, guess who we play the 25th of January?
Who?
As of now, if they can keep their ranking, we're playing Auburn.
Oh, that should be a great game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm not an Auburn fan, but I hope they can keep their ranking because,
Yeah.
and if Tennessee can keep their ranking, then that's gonna be an amazing game.
Well, yeah. Tickets would be like $500 for that game, guaranteed.
Yeah, hey, someone's becoming a millionaire that game.
Yeah.
um, but however, like I think also the fact that tonight is like I really think that tonight we're thinking that, of course, is Tennessee ready for these upcoming games like the SEC
Yeah.
tournament? Because, like I said, after tonight's performance, I'm not really sure because Tennessee barely gets by like a struggling Miami, and I really do not think that, and it just depends that if Tennessee is ready for SEC play.
Yeah.
Um, Now, of course, I think now Tennessee won the SEC championship last year, but of course who in my opinion was carrying the team,
Be White Mamba.
Dalton Connect,
Yeah. My
um,
boy.
who's actually who's actually like really good in the NBA
Yeah.
for the Lakers. Now, personally, I'm not a Lakers fan,
I am.
but I do. What did you say you are?
I am a Lakers fan.
Well, hey, all right. I'm gonna be honest. Like, because here's I don't really watch NBA that
Yeah,
much.
I don't either.
I'm gonna be honest, but whenever I am, I'm gonna go Celtic. Well, I'm
Yeah,
mostly a Celtics fan, but I'll pull for the Grizzlies as well because you got to represent the home state team as well.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but I do think, of course, that now Tennessee, however, has done pretty good without Dalton. But I'm gonna have to think this that that you're gonna have to try to figure out what other offense you got to run because you don't have Dalton anymore. You got to figure out the rush shots. I'm sorry, you don't got to rush shots. You got to just put them up when when you had the time to I'm sorry, with time on the clock. That's really what I would do. Like the rush shots can also be a disadvantage as well, and it can show that Tennessee is either struggling or they could be afraid or things like that. And what I mean by afraid is like is that they say, oh, this defense is bigger than our offense, and and that could lead to like forcing a rush shot because they're trying to end up trying to get back on defense to try to stop the shot and then try to get a wide open shot the next play. That's kind of what I see in it.
yeah,
But I also think that, of course, that the good thing about tonight's game is, of course, that yes, you are 9-0,
yeah,
but like I said, there's so many things you got to work on.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Especially defense.
exactly. Yeah. Now, of course, uh, the first half defense is kind of like it's kind of like opposite to what the football team's defense is.
Yeah,
Like defense is bailing them out in football. Um, but I think that, of course, Tennessee, um, that they can be a both half team. Like they can be a first and second half team in basketball. But
yeah,
I just think that, of course, if Tennessee is going to succeed, they're going to have to look back at this game, figure out what went wrong, and they're going to have to, regroup. Say, like Coach Barnes going to have to regroup with them and say, "Hey, this is what went wrong. Here's what we're going to do to fix it." And you're going to try something else because yeah,
yeah. Now, hopefully, Josh Heupel does that with the Tennessee football offense.
yeah, um, yeah. So, all right. You got anything else to add for tonight?
Uh, but Tennessee's basketball team gets 4-0 in ACC play this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, of course, Tennessee is the SEC, so this is basically a non-conference.
Yeah,
Really, like basically 4-0 against ACC teams this year.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah. All right. So, is there anything else you need to add? Because pretty much, I think I've said everything that I need to say.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, we're gonna introduce a little new segment. You can actually thank Max here for this idea. We're gonna do player of the game, and Max, since you created it, I'm gonna let you start.
Alright. So my play of the game is Chaz Laney, just because he went off in this game, 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. So he, he's my play of the game.
You took my guy. I was like, I was hoping that. Here's what I was saying. I was saying, please don't take my guy, and he took my guy. But actually, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with Igor. Igor Milicic. The reason being is because he was going off in this game.
Yeah,
Um, and on his stat line, he literally went hold on, I'm on the wrong slide here. There we go. He went 6 of 11 on field goals, 2 of 5 3-pointers, 9 rebounds, 2 assists for 16 points, and he was perfect at the free throw line tonight.
yeah,
So he's my I guess backup player of the game. But I will say this though, it was a good night for him, and
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see like what all Igor can keep on doing for this team, as well as Chaz, Zakai, and everything.
yeah,
But I do think tonight's performance, of course, with it being a close game, I think there's stuff that Tennessee will need to work on, but I think they will be able to do it. So yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, so. And before we end, is there anything else you need to say or add?
No.
All right. So, all right, that's all we got for you guys tonight. If y'all like this video, go to like, subscribe for more college basketball content. And hey, keep in mind that we're still learning a little bit.
Yep.
So if we make a few mistakes, just overlook them. But hey, tell you what, this season it's looking like it's going to be a bit crazy.
Yeah.
But hey, we can. I'm going to be honest. I'm already ready for March.
Yeah.
And all right. So that being said, peace out. God bless and good night.